Hi, I'm Jordan, developer advocate over at Superwall, and today I want to give you a product tour of the Superwall platform. It'll give you a sense of all that you can do with Superwall and show you how easy it is to get up and running tests within minutes. Let's check it out. So here, once you log in, you'll be taken to the overview page. And the overview page is going to show you critical metrics right at the top. Things such as your total proceeds, users, conversions, and you can also toggle between sandbox and production environments along with timeframes. If you look down over here, you'll see that we also have our active campaigns front and center. Now, campaigns are a critical part of the Superwall platform. This is how you structure paywalls and run experiments. And we'll talk a little bit more about those in just a moment. But if we scroll down, we can also see a high-level view of our recent transactions. This is a wonderful way to get a sense of how things are flowing for your app. All recent events will come through here, such as cancellations, conversions, trial starts. And what I love is that you can easily see where people are converting into your app at a high-level point. So we have the concept of placements in Superwall. And a placement is anything that you may want to paywall. So we're seeing in this camera app, capturing a photo is a placement. And depending on the audience rules within the campaign, you can or cannot show a paywall. But here we are, and we can see that in the second one, for example, it led to a trial conversion, and we're seeing that here. I can even dive into the user and get a nice timeline view to get a sense of the user journey to see where and how they were able to convert in my product. Now, I do want to cover this left-hand side because these are all your critical parts of the Superwall platform, specifically your paywalls, campaigns, and charts. Let's take a nice look at the charts to get a sense of all the metrics that we can get within the Superwall platform. Our charts have a lot of data that you can dig into, and one of the best parts is they are part of every single plan, whether you're paying us or not. And we even have a no-code integration to get free revenue tracking. We have lots of charts types. You can do proceeds, sale, paywall rate. You can see all of those over here to your left. And they're very easy to read. For example, here on proceeds, I can see that on April 25th, something happened. My revenue was much higher. So you can go and dig into that. But what I really love is that they're easy to use. Like I said, you can toggle between time frames. We got some presets for you, such as weekly, and you can even add filters. For example, like an app, the App Store, an SDK version, whatever you need. And at the bottom, we'll break it down in a table. Now, an interesting use case for our charts is our Apple Search Ads integration. So for example, if I look at another app and add a breakdown by Search Ads campaign, well, now I can see all of the data and it's segregated all by the Apple Search Ads campaign. You can even dig into keywords and the ad groups, the list goes on. So our charts are where you're going to spend a lot of your time to see how things are working, right? You can get a sense of how your experiments are flowing, and that way you can make adjustments from there. Speaking of, let's go talk about campaigns, one of the most core parts of Superwall. So here we are in our campaigns view. Right away you see you get a nice overview of all the campaigns that you have running. I'm going to open this one here at the top called In-App. And here we are in a campaign view. Now there are three main components to your campaign. We have the placements up here in the top, our audiences, and then the paywalls over here that we associate to them. So a little bit about how this works. When you use Superwall, you register what's called a placement. And you can think of a placement as anything that you may want to paywall or feature gate. So in this example app, we have a photo app. So we have capturing a photo, sharing a photo, screenshotting. All of those things could trigger a paywall. And placements are very cheap to implement from a technical perspective. So you should add as many placements as you see fit because it gives you a ton of flexibility. For example, I could pause any of these placements at any point. So if you ran like a free promotional campaign weekend, for example, where capturing a photo was free, I could come in here and simply pause it and be good to go. Now your audiences are going to be part of a campaign like we see here, and those are going to determine which paywall a user sees. And you can add as many audiences as you want. They are evaluated top to bottom. And again, you can pause those at any time as well. This is how you structure your campaigns in Superwall. So if we were to look at this control one, we see that we have no filter, and we're going to show it to unsubscribed users. So that means anytime one of these placements gets registered, if they haven't paid for the app, they're going to get a paywall. Now what's great is you can do a lot of tests and add some very, very complex features. For example, here we're saying if a variable called demand score is greater than or equal to 93, then we're going to show them a different paywall. And this is how you structure all those paywall experiments and campaigns. So again, your audiences are evaluated, and those audiences are evaluated because a placement was triggered. And when a user matches an audience, we'll show them a paywall. Now you can run as many paywalls as you want here, and you can assign percentages too. So if you had 3 paywalls, you could assign 33% to each of them to kind of mix it up, or you could do what's called a holdout, where only say half the time someone gets a paywall. But they're very easy to add, and speaking of, this is one of the best parts about Superwall, our Paywall Editor. Let's check that out next. So here we are in our Paywall Editor. It's divided up into 3 main columns. On the left, you'll see the layout, and this is going to represent everything that you have on your paywall. For example, if you select something, it'll automatically select it over in the paywall. In the middle is our preview canvas, and this is live updated. So as you add, remove, change things, you'll see it reflected here in real time. We also have this very handy device switcher, so you can see how your paywall would react across different devices. And on the right, when you select something, for example, this text right here, I seem to have a typo, you will see the component's properties over here. This is where you can change all sorts of things, size, margin, basically anything that you could think of in terms of the component can be changed over here. So let's go ahead and fix our typo, and again, we'll see it fixed right in the preview canvas. And I want to call out a very special capability of our Paywall Editor, and that is the templating engine. So over here, you're going to see that I am using liquid templating right here to fill in a parameter that I'm passing from the client app called preferred drink. So when that is set and I have a default value of coffee, it'll be live reflected here. So that's a great way to send some user data or something specific from your app to the paywall. And over here we have a lot of settings that you can mess with. For example, you can add some products, you can change the theme and see it reflected in real time, as well as adding variables and some important settings. You can even add trial reminder notifications, so you can remind a user when their trial is about to expire. One setting that I do want to point out that's very handy is this feature gating one. Now, when you feature gate a paywall, you're saying don't continue with the logic that I've specified unless they converted. And you may be thinking, why would you want that off? Well, onboarding is a great example. You want to show a paywall, but you want to allow them to continue whether or not they convert. So you could leave feature gating off there. I'm going to say publish here, and I'm going to show you a live demo of kind of how all of this fits together. So if I were to go to my campaign editor for my test app, Caffeine Pal, you can see I've got a campaign set up. And what I want to do in this coffee app is if someone selects a latte as their favorite drink that they want the recipe for, I want to show a different paywall there. So what I can do is I can add a filter, and I can look for preferred drink, which is something I've already added ahead of time. And I'll say if it's a latte, then we're going to show this audience, right? And we're going to show the paywall associated with it. Now, these entitlements are very powerful too. You can assign an entitlement to every product. So if you have multiple tiers of service, say gold, bronze, platinum, whatever, you can put that as part of your filter for your campaign. So if you had a cheaper tier called bronze and you wanted to show a paywall to people that maybe want to be on the platinum tier, you could specify that. Let's go over here to paywalls. Here's the one that we were just working with. I think that's great. I also want to point out how easy it is to add paywalls. You can do it all sorts of ways. You can add a paywall here, or you can even use our extensive template library. I can show you a preview of that. You can put these directly into your Superwall account with one click. Okay, so back over here in our campaign, I think this looks good. It's live. So what should happen now is when I use my app, if I match this audience, I should get this paywall. If I don't, I'll get my basic paywall, which I have right here. Let's run the app and see if that's how it works. So here we are in Caffeine Pal. I'll go over here, find my latte, try to buy it, and there we go. I got that paywall. And to show you a kind of concrete example, if I were to go over here and do a pro action, this audience would be matched down here, all users, right? Because this is not a latte that I'm clicking on, and I get the other paywall. That's how easy and powerful it is to get started with Superwall, and you can get a sense of how you can put these paywalls against each other and start to see some results. I won't have any in this because it's a test app, but if we come over here, you can kind of dive into the metrics and see what's working well, what's not working well, and make adjustments from there. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Superwall platform. I know it sounds cliche, but I do have to say there's so much that I didn't have time to cover that's really worthwhile. We have full web checkout. We even have app to web flows. We have a client app to check your metrics on the go. There's a lot there for you to discover. So what I would suggest is to sign up for a free Superwall account today. Integrate our SDK. It only takes a few minutes, and you can be up and running paywalls at any point. And remember, you can test these new paywalls, pause placements, add new campaigns, all over the air. No app update required. We are the most flexible tool to grow your revenue. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment here or reach out to us. I look forward to having you on Superwall.